Welcome to Redbeard Radio. I'm Brian Keith, and today we are talking about a problem I have seen plague so many entrepreneurs, which is you have this great idea to go build your list. You're going to do a virtual summit, and you get so excited and you do all this work, and then you put it out there, and then you discover that your signups were not even 10% of what you hoped for, and you were going to sell some recordings, but that didn't work, and people didn't buy your big ticket item, and you're just thinking, oh man, I spent all this energy and I'm embarrassed because I didn't get the results that I was hoping for. Well, in today's episode, we're talking with Jan Koch of Virtual Summit Mastery, and Jan is going to help us avoid these most common sources of failure when running a virtual summit. Jan, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Brian.
Now, I'm really excited about this because I've been involved in a bunch of virtual summits, and I've seen some work fantastically well and get utterly amazing results. And then I've seen some been involved in as one of the people helping to make it or one of the people taking it and gone like, this sort of fell flat. And I'd love to go hear from your experience. What are the major reasons you see why virtual summits don't get results?
That is a fantastic question. And I'm glad that this is a different perspective. Usually I talk about how virtual summits work and all that stuff, but failure proofing is such an important point. I'm so happy to talk about this. The biggest reason I see when virtual summits fail is that the summit host lost the focus of the one thing that matters, and that is solving the pain points of your attendees. They think about, I want to have 5,000 attendees. I want to get 10,000 people to attend the summit so that I have a targeted list of 10,000 people I can sell to. I want to make six figures with the virtual summit. Those goals are nice, but if you fail identifying who it is that you're running the summit for, what pain points they have, what transformation they aspire to go through, and focus everything on the target attendee, on kind of like the target audience, the ideal customer avatar, if you want to call it that. If you focus who speaks on that, if you focus the duration of the summit, of course, all the messaging needs to talk about this. If you just miss one single step in the process of hosting a virtual summit and focus on a goal of like building your list with X amount of people or making X amount of dollars, usually the summits fall flat because what makes them work is that they kind of have a dynamic of their own. If they really put together well, the speakers are promoting the heck out of it because you make the speakers look good when they speak at your summit. There's always this thing, it's like having exposure as the way to pay somebody isn't the best way to do this. With a virtual summit, you have 4 ways or 4 reasons why speakers join your virtual event. And that is something that most people don't understand is, of course, virtual exposure is one thing for virtual summits so that you bring the speaker in front of the audience that you want to grow with the summit. But that is just 1 out of 4 reasons.
I've been part of virtual summits where I didn't even share the link to the summit that I was one of the speakers in.
Yeah.
Why? I shared it on Facebook because I did not believe in the one I'm thinking of, though this has been more than one time, because I did not believe that the person who was running the thing, what's the right way to say this? The level of credibility or cachet that if someone like, let's say, John Lee Dumas or Stu McLaren runs a virtual summit and I'm invited, oh yeah,
of course,
I'm going to be talking all about that. Even right now on Twitter, my Twitter bio, or my profile picture thing there is about me. I'm going to be on stage at the Keep convention in November. So yeah, I'm talking about, you'll see me there in my Scottish kilt on stage speaking at this conference, virtually or in person. I'll be there. So I brag about that, right? Like, I'm going to be on stage at the Keep convention. But if it's someone who is someone who I'm more doing a favor for, someone who's, they're just getting started, and so I want to support them, but lending my brand, the Redbeard cachet, to go support someone. And I think that point about, does it really solve the problem? Because if I believed that my audience would be vastly improved by attending the virtual summit and hearing the other people and also being marketed to by the founder of the thing, then I would feel different because I'm talking all about the Keep Summit, the virtual, and it's virtual and in person, but I'm talking all about that because I believe if you go to Icon, the Keep convention, whether you listen to my talk or not, which I'm talking about data-driven decision making, which is hugely important to everyone who is doing business online, but there's a bunch of other presentations there that you will also dramatically improve your business from. So I'm sold. I believe, Jan, I believe that if you go to Icon, your life will get better. And when I think about this one summit that I didn't promote, did I believe that? Did I have the belief? Nah, maybe it would. I don't know.
But the summit host didn't make you believe in that. He didn't convey that it's about the attendees and it's about the speakers. He probably, or she probably made you feel like they are doing it for them rather than...
Obviously, 100%. It was definitely a list building exercise, which I was happy to go contribute a half hour of my life to and be interviewed on whatever the topic was. But that's really different. Let me talk about a successful thing. Natalie Lucier of Access Ally is doing her successful or her scaling series where she's bringing in professionals to talk about different parts of scaling your business. And she has her software platform, Access Ally, which does content management, affiliate management, all kinds of great stuff there. And when she interviewed me for that, I shared the heck out of it. Well, why is that? Because I know Natalie, and I know that she's really devoted to business growth, has a very long track record of success, and the other people on the seamless selling or seamless scaling platform, her other guests, I know who they are, right? They're all very high caliber, and I can see that she's obviously laying out a path for her audience and whoever joins that audience to achieve business success. So I believe in her, and that transfers to believing in the Seamless Scaling series.
And that is such an important point, is that Natalie makes it abundantly clear that even though she will reap the benefits of the summit, obviously she's putting it together, it's not primarily about her benefits. It is about educating her audience. And that is what many summit hosts get wrong, because there is a lot of work that goes into these events. And obviously, as a business owner, we all want to be rewarded for the work we put in. So we focus on those rewards. But what we have to understand with virtual summits is you have to put the audience first, you have to put the speakers first, and then your results will follow. So as you said, if a summit lays out a clear path of how the attendees will be transformed after they spend time at your event, if the speakers can clearly see how you're putting the lineup together, even though you might not have the biggest names in the industry, but if I were to bring you onto a virtual summit that I host, and you maybe recognize 5 out of 30 speakers that I have, but I can explain to you why the other 25 are there and how they fit into the journey of the attendee, you would feel way more comfortable spreading the word of the event, because as a speaker, you are putting your name to the summit. You cannot recommend something that you don't believe in. So this is something that I see many summit hosts when they join Virtual Summit Mastery and they go onto this onboarding call with me and we talk about their goals, and they all say, I don't have the biggest list, I don't have the biggest brand, and nobody really knows me. That doesn't matter at all, because the why you host your summit is most important. That brings the speakers together. You're building the relationships with the speakers, not because you are the summit host, but because what you do resonates with what the speakers want, which is educating your audience, teaching. And by putting together that resource of your virtual event and bringing together a lineup that complements each other nicely, you make it easy for the speakers to share it, and you make them look good in the process. That is the biggest incentive that you can give speakers. It's not so much about getting paid for spending 30 minutes or an hour on a summit interview. It's rather giving them a way to improve their branding, their standing in their audience, their authority, by sharing your event. Even though maybe let's say I would get John Lee Dumas to speak at one of my conferences and he would be the main keynote. He doesn't get much out of sharing my event if he's the main keynote and all other speakers are less popular than he is. But if I can make it so that he believes the event will heavily benefit his audience, he'll share nevertheless. Not because he wants to build his audience, it's massive, obviously, but because he knows he has a resource at his hands that makes him look better in the eyes of the audience he already has?
If I was going to do an event to add benefit to JLD's audience, I would do some kind of live challenge where a bunch of people who've already bought something from him go and do the thing together in an accountability fashion as a tribe, so that we actually got more value. I would say, okay, Podcasters Paradise, which is his paid membership group that I'm in, I'd say, great. Okay, I'm going to go do I'm going to do a 100-day podcasting challenge. I'm going to follow JLD's podcasting journal to the letter for 100 days. I'm going to live stream every day inside his group or something like that. And I would make it so I'm going to add a lot of value to that. But one thing you said earlier, it struck me. I have a friend and client, Tim Wambach, at Flexing Fatherhood on Twitter. And he's, and this is super secret, so don't tell anyone, folks. It's not secret. It's just not announced yet. And I don't know when this particular episode is going to go live on Redbeard Radio. What we're doing, or what he's doing, is a 7-day fast. Now, his audience is helping dads get back into shape and a good level of fitness who have let their fitness and their figure decline once becoming dads. And he's done crazy things, like he's run across the country twice. Formerly a really fat guy who got really slimmed down and got his health back in gear, and he has small children, so he understands the problems, right? And he had this idea for this event, for doing a challenge kind of thing. And I said to him, well, who else can we get involved? And I said, Jan, okay, well, what do you need when you're doing a fast where you're only drinking water? Well, you need electrolytes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now we need to talk to Tyler Cartwright of Drink LMNT on Twitter, because LMNT is the best electrolyte that I use all the time. What else do you need? Well, you need other kind of supplements. So we need to have Mike Mutzel on of High Intensity Health, who has the Myoscience brand of supplements. Who else do we need? Oh, we need Grace Smith, who does hypnotherapy, which can help you undo some of your limiting beliefs, and so on and so forth. And so we went from the, hey, join and do this challenge together thing because it's fun, to let's bring in some high-powered names that can talk very specifically in a live stream each day or a quick video each day about here's how their solution, like an electrolyte powder that's easy to use, how that really supports doing an intense self-surgery process like 7 days of fasting. And it was amazing to get to watch Tim's brain as he went, oh, wow, yeah, this is actually a team sport. It's not a Tim being, look at me, I'm Tim, I'm going to go make you transform this way. It's, we're going to bring a bunch of experts together.
Yeah.
And we're going to go, each of these people is part of a puzzle that really, the Grace app from Grace Smith Hypnosis, the Grace app does a million things. One of them, or 5 of them, helps you go through challenging processes like this and really look inside yourself and help you find a higher place of peace and grace within yourself. So that's, of course, it's a natural fit. And it's going to be attractive for the Grace Smith team to go be involved because it's part of that. And it's saying this tool over here, that tool is a really good fit for people who do serious things like us. And so it creates a little bit of tribalism, a little bit of belief there. We are the kind of people, Jan, we do 7-day water fasts.
Which is exactly what you need if you do things like this. You need to bring, I'm so happy that you're bringing up this example. You need to make attendees of an event feel involved in what you're doing. That is the second biggest reason I see events fail, is that you're not sparking any enthusiasm with your attendees. You're not making them want to spend time. A few years ago, I ran my first summit in 2015. Virtual summits were treated like physical conferences where attendees would block an entire week out of their calendars, not working, just spending time at the virtual summit. Nowadays, everybody and their dog is running a virtual summit. So what do people do? They watch them while working, while doing the dishes. And you really compete with other activities nowadays. So when you get an idea like this, where you bring people together and you expand the community of the attendees and bring them together, bring the attendees together, not just the speakers at the event, but build a virtual networking area, for example, or build a Facebook group where you stream live to, where you take on questions from the attendees. What I see work really well is do live webinars where you break down questions that attendees submitted in advance during the pre-launch of the virtual summit. Do what you can to get them involved in your event to make them feel like they are part of the event. And that is when they naturally be more inclined to upgrade to the replays, to all the upsells that you might have in place. And this is where you multiply the results that you get from a virtual summit. And again, that is focusing on what you can do for the attendees. It's not focusing on maximizing ROI.
Why do you think otherwise smart entrepreneurs who make all kinds of good decisions look at a virtual summit and decide, I know, I'm going to make this entire thing focused on me and not my attendees?
Brilliant question. I think because it is, or it can be, such a monster of a project. Because when you do a summit seriously, it's easy to spend 3 to 6 months on a virtual summit, and you can sink a ton of money in a project like a virtual summit with virtually no guaranteed results. So what I think happens in the mind of the summit host is, I'm spending, let's say, 50 grand on a summit, including all the ads, including time for my team and stuff like that. I need to make this worth my time. And they lose focus on, I need to make it worth the time of the attendees to spend the time and actually consume what I'm creating.
That's tragic and also so true. That I think about, we often have two choices. We can say, I want everyone who finishes interacting with my content in whatever fashion to have a high positive regard where they feel like, wow, I really got a lot out of that. And I try to do that with every episode of Redbeard Radio, is that we might not always be talking about something that's the most important thing to you right now, but I want every episode you to leave from that thinking, wow, I feel elevated. I feel like I have a better handle on what's going on. I have an action step or two that I may not take, but I might, because I know what to do next. And that's a really important thing to me, that, hey, you're paying me with your attention, right? Because there's money, but there's also attention, and you're paying me with your attention. And it's the same thing on Twitter. I want to go write stuff where people engage with it and they go, oh, wow, I just did this tweet on sword fighting, my fighting career, and a bazillion people have loved it. Fantastic. Hopefully they got something out of it, right? But you make me think of one of the things where I've taken a course, and this is, again, John Lee Dumas's Podcaster's Paradise, where, and I started podcasting for a couple of years before I decided to join JLD's crew there. And he gives you a step-by-step about, you do these things in this order. And I wonder how much that's part of why people love your Virtual Summit Mastery, is that instead of people thinking a virtual summit's a good idea and then reading 20 free articles and watching 2 hours of videos on how to do it on YouTube, and then having 50 different possible avenues, do you just tell people what to do in Virtual Summit Mastery?
Yes, we do. That is the biggest separator. I mean, as you said, there are tons of ways you can put a virtual event together, and we aren't the only ones who teach this. We don't have a virtual summit software even. We do have our templates, and we do make building the summit platform very easy on various platforms and stuff. But the one thing that I hear over and over again that sets VSM apart is we have a clear 90-day action plan that breaks down every single step. It's like a 40-page PDF with all the single steps that you have to take, and it links to the respective video session and training in the program. So it's like 70 hours of video content, really, really in depth. I'm adding new sessions almost every other week. And the one thing that sets Virtual Summit Mastery apart from the feedback of the, I think, 1,300 plus students, is that we focus so much on the attendee. For example, when you look at other Virtual Summit softwares, Hey Summit, Hopin, and so on, they always focus on making your life as the summit host as easy as possible, sacrificing the attendee experience to a part, because they want to ensure that you get results from the virtual summit. So they make it very easy to pitch your all access pass or the replays all over the entire website. And that, of course, makes the attendees feel marketed at, and they lose this feeling of, hey, Brian is hosting this virtual summit for me and is not hosting the virtual summit for him primarily. So with
and you can't do both. You can't be short-term and long-term focused. My buddy doing the fasting thing, if you hear the whole summit, hey, Tim does coaching for dads. Hey, Tim does coaching for dads. You're going to feel sold to. And do you know how fast I close out of every single YouTube ad that I possibly can? maybe 1 in 100 or 1 in 500 I actually watch for 10 seconds.
Yep.
But I click that skip ads as fast as I can, because as soon as I feel like I'm being added or seeing an ad, I get the hell out of there.
Yep. And that
so
is
Tim,
sorry, go ahead.
So Tim, it's going to be all about, that there's going to be multiple stages. So you don't have to be crazy and do a 7-day fast, but it's going to be all about, that as a dad, especially as a dad with small kids who's let his body go, fasting can be a powerful tool for you to regain power over your life and your figure and your fitness. And this guy is going to go for a low price. He's going to go help you join this community and get to listen to some amazing experts that offer fantastic products to help you get control of your life back. So it's going to be really, as long as we focus on that, we're going to help dads get control of their life back. And by the way, this guy's name is Tim over here, as opposed to, you should really hire me as your coach. Totally different focus.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that is also why I think so many summits done with the Virtual Summit Mastery framework succeed. I mean, we have events from that started as independent events, like solopreneurs facing with a back to the wall. Somebody had a fasting summit, for example. His business partner just broke up on him. He was really under pressure, and he went all in on virtual summits. And eventually he turned all the summits into 6-figure events every single time, adding multiple 10,000 people to the email list, because he followed the process. And we make it abundantly clear. The first module is all about mindset and getting the right perspective on virtual summits. We make it abundantly clear that it's not about you as the host, and that if you trust the process, the results that you want will follow naturally. And now we have tons of 6-figure case studies in Virtual Summit Mastery. And we have, what I enjoy the most seeing is when people do their first event, and maybe they're just a solopreneur starting out on a very tight budget, and they add, somebody's doing an NLP Master Summit right now, completely new in the market. He went from 0 subscribers to 3,500 before the event even started. And that's not a big list by any means, but going from 0 to 3,500 is way more difficult than going from 3,500 to 20,000.
Yeah.
And
that's incredible.
Yeah, those are the results that I love to see so much, because then when you have the small summit under your belt, you can pivot, you can scale. And if you already have that brand that has a loyal following, and you have a bit of budget to put against the virtual summit, the sky is the limit, really.
Jan, I want to hear more, but we are out of time for today. Where can people go to talk with you more about doing their own virtual summit and getting into Virtual Summit Mastery?
The best way is to go to virtualsummitmastery.com/Brian. I've put up a dedicated landing page just for you beautiful people listening to the Redbeard Brian podcast.
Beautiful. Can you make it /Redbeard?
Of course.
This is how well we plan things ahead, folks. virtualsummitmastery.com/Redbeard. And here's how I'll sweeten the deal, folks. If you decide to buy Virtual Summit Mastery and you email me your receipt to Brian, Brian, at redbeardconsulting.com, or tweet it at me, whatever, I will go spend an hour of my time with you helping develop your plans at any phase of your process of putting on your virtual summit. That's $500 you're not spending with me to go get one-on-one attention to helping you make your virtual summit happen. Because I think this adding value, I love Jan, I love your complete focus on helping the person in the audience making their lives better. I think we need way more of that. So I'm throwing my energy behind this. So let's see how fast I get a deluge of people in my calendar with free consulting. Who knows? I may have doomed myself, but that's the fun of doing things live, folks. Jan, thank you so much for your time. If folks want to follow you, where can they find you?
The best way is follow me on Twitter at I am Jan Koch.
Beautiful. Okay, folks, thanks for listening in on this episode of Redbeard Radio. That's virtualsummitmastery.com/Redbeard. Talk to you next time.